Good morning or hello, everybody. For some, maybe it's in the afternoon. My name is Elke Bovensman. I'm author of the training BR230, which is a BRIM overview training for the on-premise components. I'm happy to explain you today what the content of the training is, and my idea is to give you an overview when BRIM on-prem is reasonable in business use cases. In the training and the Learning Hub, you also find live access to the system environment, and you also have a lot of recordings available that show then the exercises of the training. So my idea is to give you more or less an overview. So my agenda for today is we will have a look into subscription and consumption business examples to remind you when in your life and in business use cases you have subscription and consumption business examples. Then we will check also with industry use cases when and why those industries prefer to use BRIM solution components. So I will explain the BRIM solution landscape to you. And with the industry examples, we then point out what are the advantages of the BRIM industries for the industries. Also in the training, we have then the BRIM data model, and in the training, we would go a bit deeper and deeper, but for an overview, I would summarize the BRIM components and the used business objects. So let me start with an introduction to subscription and consumption business examples. If you stop for a moment and think about your own consumption behavior, you might think that you have subscription and consumptions in your daily life. You might have a Spotify music or streaming service as a subscription. You maybe have a sport club membership in a fitness studio. You might use credit cards to pay something. Maybe a very prominent and very complex example of subscription and consumption is also a mobile phone. You have maybe car chargings, transportation tickets is also an example for consumption, and you might have usage of automotive services. Also, software licenses are sold in a form of subscriptions. So here we have a collection of business to consumption use cases, and they sometimes have more the character of subscriptions, like a sport club membership. There you subscribe for a monthly fee of maybe $20 US, and for this amount you are able to use all sports options. You can do fitness, muscle training, and so on. Then there are some other use cases like car charging. They have more the focus on consumption. So if you are using a charging station, this is a kind of a usage fee that you have later to pay, because we have an evaluation in case how long did you charge your car, what kind of charging type was it, and so on. Maybe you have an additional parking fee. So this is a very usage and consumption focused business. So you see here we have a mixture. All together, we have here no integration of physical goods included. So the focus on BRIM is on physical goods-free services. Okay, so we go on and have another look on B2B use cases. where also subscription and consumptions are important. First of all, we have SAP, also our cloud services. We sell a cloud service to our customers, and there we have subscription and consumption components, depending on how many users you buy for the Fiori Launchpad, how many APIs you use, how much traffic you have. So our own cloud services are built also with a BRIM software. Next example in a B2B context is print services. There are possibilities for black and white printing or for allowances to have big amounts that you pay before. So print services are also examples for B2B. Another example could be the installation of a laptop, where here we also have an included hardware part, which is sold via sales distribution, and we could also have the involvement of maintenance services. Another example where consumptions play a role is the travel agency services like Concor, or also dealer platform services like our own Ariba, or also other examples for platform businesses are possible to be handled via the BRIM platform. We also have examples for fleet services and parcel services. As a parcel example, I will later come back and explain why BRIM is a good choice of a software for a lot of parcel service provider. Then we have additionally car rentals and company credit cards. With the company credit cards, I also have later a bigger example where we can have a look into the use cases. Cleaning services could be also an example. The difference between B2B and B2C can be in volume. Very often the B2C business has a much higher volume. It could be possible in some use cases that in B2B business, the complexity might be higher because we have master agreements involved, or different contracts that are relevant how to handle the B2B business. Okay, so the subscription and consumption economy has changed how we are doing business. For all businesses, it's also if they have formally sold their goods, it's important to find business models how to subscribe instead of buying, because the revenue stream is much more over a longer period, and it's more reasonable to subscribe services than to buy them. This also has an impact on the volume and also on the data models that we have behind. So we are at the moment transferring from a single transaction business where goods were resold to a relationship focused business where we have a subscription models behind. And with the subscriptions, we also have to handle the subscription contracts that have a much longer lifetime than single transactions. So that means we have to take care about subscription contracts where we have also changes on the life cycles, where we change the payments, where we change the service level maybe that we have subscribed to, where we have additional the component of rating of usage or customer discounts. As well, we want to handle our customers and have some freemium tariffs in order to give them a good start into our services, because we want to position our services. And we have revenue shares with partners. This is a very important aspect. We also bundle often services and include from other companies services as well. This is important that we are able to handle all of those aspects. Also, the transformation from a single transaction business to a relationship-focused business is important that we are able to handle and analyze the change of the business models. So there are a lot of aspects that need to be covered, and with a BRIM overview training, we try to give you a basic understanding about the process steps. Just to mention the industries where subscription and consumption trends are important, or we have smart locations like smart cities, smart buildings, and smart homes that produce with IoT a lot of more information than we had before. You know that the energy business is, according to charging, very important. A lot of utility industries are interested in BRIM and use BRIM for charging services. But as well, we have a lot of companies that use BRIM in transportation. We have, for example, logistics there, like container business, who use part of BRIM. We have vehicles, we have train companies that use BRIM for their rating and charging systems. And in transportation, we also have parcel services that belong to logistics. New is the healthcare market, because there they have a trend from the single transaction where technical medicine goods were sold to a subscription model where the treatment is more important, and they do consumption-based business along to treatments. Additionally, we have supply chain examples, and also later I have a bigger example for credit card transactions. For credit card transactions, there are also a lot of parties involved, and you can use this for the handling of the transactions and the split of the revenue between different involved parties. So that means the SAP solution BRIM stands for Billing and Revenue Innovation Management, includes and covers a complete process, and also has different software components as part of the solution to cover this complete process. And we start with the business model design and the pricing configuration. We also handle subscription order and subscription contract management. We have a solution for usage metering and transaction pricing. And we are also able to do billing for receivables and collections. And we have an integrated process for partner revenue share. So this is not only one software component, as we have this in other contexts. We have a bundle, and here in the BRIM overview, we have the integrated process. We document the integrated process from the subscription order until the integration to the general ledger. So in the training, we have 14 exercises which show how the BRIM solution supports this complete process. The key capabilities, because the question is why and when do you want to use BRIM? The key capabilities are, monetize new business models, as we have seen a lot of industry move from product sales to selling services and outcome-based on subscription and real-time usage-based services. We have seen this, and we are here assisting with this software solution to do this move. A lot of our customers start with a sales distribution and now ask the question how they can go on if they have more volume that they need to cover with their software. According to the business models, we, as you have seen, we have examples for B2B, where more complexity is important and maybe the volume is on the consumption side, but the number of debitors is more or less low. We have the B2C business models that we support. That means we are able also, like in telecommunication industry, to handle extreme high volume, because in telecommunication industry, we have the example that we, a telecommunication company has a contact to all customers, and this includes that you have a huge volume, and we are with our solution high volume available. So we are able to handle different models, and also with different payment models like prepaid or postpaid strategy, and we have a high automation for invoicing and accounting processes. We support multi-sided revenue models. This is important. We can handle our partners with partner contracts in the same system. And we have transparent revenue sharing models. Since we have both in one system, we are also able to handle if the customer does not pay, we can shift this to the partner again, because normally you don't want to pay the partner, the customer does not pay his bill. This architecture, the subscription and consumption billing architecture with BRIM, is scalable to high volumes. In the digital business, the reason is that we, for the financial accounts receivable, we have FICA in place, and this is a very high volume automated and process supported solution component here. Okay, that is the reason why we use BRIM. Now I have here a list of processes that are supported. And then the next step, I will show you which components in the on-prem context are relevant. We start the complete process that we cover with BRIM with the management of subscriptions. We have normally a subscription order and a subscription contract in place. So we have a subscription and order management. If we start with our management of the customer and the partner master data, we have products and product bundles in place and defined. We have the starting point is a subscription order capture, where we have payment methods, billing cycles behind, where we can subscribe for combinations of products, and where we start with the life cycle of the subscription contract. We also support here with our order distribution interface. The order distribution and fulfillment could be possible that the subscription contract has a starting point after all services have been activated, and maybe some physical objects are distributed to the customer. So there are often distribution and fulfillment steps behind. Then we have the subscription contract management that supports the life cycle of the customer. It could be possible that the customer changes a configuration or changes a technical equipment that is assigned to the subscription contract. Could be possible that there are renewals or cancellations behind, and we have to support here the integration also into the billing and invoicing side. This is supported by the on-premise integration. We have then the master agreement management, which is relevant for a lot of B2B examples. And as I mentioned, we have partner revenue share agreements in place. So this is the first component. This is a subscription and order management component. The second component is the collection of usage. We have a partner product, conversion mediation, integrated in our solution, which supports us to collect and structure the usage. With conversion mediation, we have a very performant software component in place that assists with structuring of usages, data enrichment, and they are also very helpful to validate if there are doubles, to capture errors, and to move from different technical usage collection steps to get the same format in order to prepare the collected usage for the rating process. For the rating process, we have then for the price and charging, conversion charging in place. Conversion charging is a very flexible tool to model complex price models. We have sometimes combinations of recurrings and usage charging models. And conversion charging is a very performant tool to handle high volumes with high complexity. The next step is then the convergent invoicing. With the convergent invoicing, we have the starting point into the financials, because there we can assign the accounts, and convergent charging is convergent invoicing is a very open tool, because we start with the management of billable and consumption items. And there it's also possible to integrate other rating machines, despite of convergent charging, to the process, because we are very open to integrate as well other software components. With convergent invoicing, we have the possibility to collect all for the invoice relevant billable items, because then we are able to organize and prepare the invoice with this step. The advantage is that we are able to flexibly adapt the billable items according to the industries. And that is also the reason why we have a very industry adaptable solution here in place. We can use the convergent invoicing with the option also to store consumption items there. This is in some industries reasonable, where you want to add and show the customer why he has to pay this amount. There you have the possibility to also show consumption items, or you can also use the software in order to aggregate and prepare consumption items. That can be then used in the convergent invoicing triggered rating. We have two options for billing plans for recurring fees. One option is to have it into convergent charging. The other option is in convergent invoicing. We have billing plans there. We have a billing aggregation as a preparation for the invoicing. If you have high volumes of billable items, this is reasonable. We also have the possibility to do preliminary invoice and discounting. We have the possibility to do revenue sharing and split off parts of the billable items for customer. And we also support with an integration of convergent invoicing to RA, the revenue recognition for unbilled and deferred revenue. In the end, the last component is then the customer financial care. we are able to combine accounts receivable and accounts payable in one ledger. We have incoming support of incoming and outgoing payments, and cash desk integrations to a cash app. We have dunning and collection and mass. So also in the B2C examples, we are able here to handle high volume. Okay, then we go on, and now I have an overview about the components that are relevant. We have now with SAP S/4HANA one platform where we support the subscription processes and the bill and settle processes. Here, bill and settle and the payment processes. And in the complete landscape, this is now more simple. Before it was included into the CRM, the subscription order management, but we have one platform where we have subscription order management and SAP S/4HANA on one platform. Additionally, we have then the integration of conversion mediation into the landscape, which is included, integrated with conversion invoicing, depending on the use cases, in case the usage is uploaded directly, or you have the handling of already built items. This is reasonable in case you need to do a rating process. It could be more reasonable to have conversion charging here in place. So this is our complete solution, where you see this consists of different components. This is a solution category for the on-premise parts. We also have a lot of cloud components and can cover the process also with cloud components, but this is then in another training, the story. Okay, here I have integrated a screenshot. You will find all recordings starting from subscription order management over subscription contracts and exercise to master agreement in the training. And we also have recorded all exercises that are able to be done. You find in the Learning Hub live access to the system and also material to do the exercises on your own. We have then an exercise also integrated with conversion charging. And we go after the creation of the subscription contract, you are able to use a display of the provider contract and the master agreement. So in the training, I've selected a part of the complete processes, but the focus in the training is to have a complete run through the process, starting from the subscription order and ending with the integration to the general ledger. Okay, so in case you're interested to have a deeper run through, please go to the learning room and watch the videos that are integrated there. I go now on with a deeper look into some business examples to give you an idea what is special with a BRIM and why do a lot of industries use BRIM as a solution, because then you have maybe an idea if this fits to your solution approach as well, if BRIM could be a solution for you in your business. The first example is here, the postal example. There are special customers behind, but here I have only a generalization because I don't want to mention the single customers here. We have parcel companies in different countries, and they use BRIM for their B2B business customer, which have, for example, customer hierarchies in place, like online shops, fresh foods, and so on. So we need also maybe some master agreements, because a lot in B2B, you have special price agreements or special discount agreements for customer groups, and they can be realized in the BRIM solution in order to control how much revenue the customer has. The postal industry has a special challenge. They need very complex configurable price models with a lot of characteristics. And in the BRIM solution, we are able to introduce those characteristics for pricing and also for consumptions and also for the master agreements that we have in place. The example for some characteristics are here that we have surcharges for insurance destinations. We have different delivery zones in place, and the fees depend on the different delivery zones. We have industry-specific dimension of goods, like weights and lengths. In the industry, it's possible to have different channels like roads and air freight. And you can also have different service levels like tracking level and so on. There might be a lot of more characteristics, but here you see we have characteristics, and those characteristics have an influence on the price model. And we need here a software in place that is very flexible according to the price models, and is also able to handle very high volumes. If you maybe think about the Christmas business, where a lot of prices, a lot of parcels are sent from one to the other. Okay, and this is, for example, one industry. Transportation has quite similar challenges. The next industry is more platform examples. We have platform examples in transportation management, but we also have platform examples for telecommunication industries, where one telecom operator is exchanging their usage with another because they they share the infrastructure very often. They have complex billing and invoicing processes between the telecommunication platform operators. So we have a check of the platform business here. My business example here is a railway example and a B2B postpaid example. Railway X is operating a large railway network in Europe, and the company offers different tariff types to different customer groups, prepaid tariffs, subscription-based discounting, and so on. And we also have a revenue sharing with other operating companies like bus companies, local taxis, railway operating companies, and so on. So this is their daily business, to have transportation between different points, and different points include different operator, and the usage needs to be split from one point to another point. Here we can use BRIM as a platform starting point, as a billing platform. This is there are a lot of customers behind that use BRIM in a platform business here, as I mentioned. So we have a lot of options to handle those platform payments and revenue share between different involved partners. Okay. Then the next example is a high-tech example. We have customers that have hard and software integrated in multinational companies with B2C and B2B business. Here we have often an involvement of technical goods that are delivered via the sales distribution process. And we have the involvement of licenses, services, and so on. That means we have here bundle business where we integrate subscription parts of BRIM with the sales distribution. We have here the possibility to use a so-called solution quotation, which is also one part of the SOM training. And BRIM supports here business model transformations from a vendor to a recurring revenue business model, where before we only have sold the hardware. A lot of technical data resources make it reasonable to use also conversion mediation, which has an integration here, because if we have a high volume of usage, then it's important to improve the data quality according to completeness and integrate new services without revenue leakage. As well, in case of bundle aspects and bundle products, we have the situation that we need financial revenue accounting as an additional subledger in order to create the legally correct accounting view on the operational revenue of hardware and subscription bundles. So we as well have integration of BRIM into the RA objects. The next example is then the financial customer service. As I promised, in case we have a credit card company in Europe, I call it Pay for You. We have a B2B and a B2C businesses behind, because if one customer, for example, buys a good with a credit card, then we have charges for the payment card, and we have a lot of transactions that are running behind, because the shop is acting with the dealer, with the bank dealer. We have a bank of the customer. We have interactions and intercharge fees and license fees and so on that have to be paid. That means the original transaction is split into a lot of sub-transactions. This is also some kind of platform business, because the transactions have to be splitted. The point is that this business, the financial service, also has a lot of challenges, like an extreme high volume transactions. The number is still growing because a lot of people are using credit cards also for smaller transactions nowadays. And we have an involvement of 3 until 4 revenue shared partners. And we have often business customer with negotiated master agreements in place, like company credit cards, for example. And additionally, we have to do some bonus tracking for the collection of service miles and upgrades, downgrades on service levels. So you see, this example is also quite complex. Okay. Now I have the BRIM data model in place, because I want to explain a bit the business objects that are included in the training. In the BRIM overview training, we repeat this data model very often, because it's important to understand the pieces. Of course, I understand that often the customer has different solution components in place, and it's not always the same structure that they completely use a BRIM model to cover the process. But then it's reasonable to understand the pieces, because you have to integrate with legacy software, for example. And legacy software could be in place, for example, for the subscription order management process, or for other pieces. But then it's easier if you have an idea about the data model to understand this. So the starting point normally is could be the customer. We have with the customer the order of a product, for example, a telecommunication could be a telecommunication contract. If you go into a shop and buy a mobile phone, including with services, then we have here the subscription order. The subscription order is a pure starting point where we integrate all aspects of the subscription order process. We create in the system a subscription contract out of the subscription order technically, and we distribute this subscription contract to the from the subscription order management part in S/4HANA to the financial contract accounting, where we have here a contract account at the master data, the business partner, and a contract account, and we have a provider contract behind. Since we have the subscription order management now on the same platform as the S/4HANA financial contract accounting, the integration is much easier, and we also use the SAP S/4HANA master data. This is the material management, the former material management behind, which you might know, where we have a subscription product, and we can have in the on-prem constellation an integration to configurations with the help of the advanced variant configurator. And we use a lot of from the SAP S/4HANA master data management, like also bill conditions, which are connected to the sales distribution conditions, and where we can also store prices with the technique of the sales distribution conditions. So with the move of the CRM financial parts to the S/4HANA, the architecture is much easier because we have here S/4HANA, the master data management, and here also S/4HANA in place. So the integration is much easier. The middleware is out, and we reuse a lot of existing master data that we know from the material management. We have an integration then here to convergent mediation. The technical order is distributed to the service platform. We get the acceptance and the okay that the service has been activated, and the subscription contract can be distributed and activated to the other systems. Could be also that where you have at the customer side different rating systems in place, then the process is similar. You have to do these activations to the other rating systems, for example. In case, let's stay maybe at the example of the telecommunication example, you do phone calls or you use internet, systems create usage data records from these events. Could be also charging of your car, charging station, or in the parcel example, it's the transportation of logistical goods. These create events, and these events are then in convergent mediation as usage data records. They are validated, checked against master data, and so on, and they are prepared for the rating process. The rating process then can be either started from convergent invoicing. Here we have the option to start the rating process from the service platform, and then the charge plan is checking the price of the usage data records. Could be for charges with CPU and RAM and bandwidth. This is our training example, and we receive in the end usage fees. We have then different billable item components. One could become from the billing plan. Here we have the option to have a billing plan in financial contract accounting. Here the billing plan would create for a recurring fee of €1,000 one billable item. Here we have a second billable item for another recurring fee. We can have an integration to the activation where one-time fees like activation fees are added here, and we can also have here from different sources usage fees. Those billable items are all collected in convergent invoicing and enriched with accounting information, because the billable item point, the billable item is then the starting point, and the enrichment, the starting point for the financial operations as well. The later steps in convergent invoicing are a two-step aggregation to a preparation for the invoicing document. This is a pre-aggregation, that is a billing document. This is more or less a technical object that is not sent to the customer. The next step is then the creation of the invoicing. The invoicing is then sent to the customer, and also from the starting point of the invoicing, the FICA documents for the open item management, also for the accounting, are created. You can have dispute cases or payments. Payments are then assigned to the open item management here. So we have questions in the chat. What is a technical order from SOM to convergent mediation? The question is, what is a technical? The technical order should more or less be sent here to the service platform. Maybe the error is not correct. So the technical order is a activation of a service, for example. In case we have a telecommunication service, then we need to inform the platform about the technical order. This is maybe the arrow should be a bit longer and should move maybe to the service platform. That would be a bit clearer. And then after the service has been activated, the service events can be sent to convergent mediation. So sorry, I have maybe to correct this error. This is not completely precise. Okay. Okay, that is the overview. And if you are interested to participate in the training, you have all these objects also a bit deeper in place and can understand how they work together. Here I have mentioned the example, the business example that we use in all trainings. And I maybe explain why I have set up this example as it is. So we use in our trainings cloud selection service. And the reason is that I wanted to show how to use the advanced variant configurator and a product model behind. So I have set up one product. This is a cloud selection service, and for this product, you are able to choose the service level agreement, which is one parameter in the product model. So you can choose, you can either use pay as you go or silver or gold, because I wanted to show that with the BRIM integration, we are also able to handle price models on different service levels. That means in case you choose a special service level, the convergent charging is then able to handle, according to the service level, also the different prices for the usages. The usages are then the CPU, RAM, and bandwidth. So I want to show that we can have maybe different services behind, and depending on the selected service level agreement, we have a different price. So we have here the price of 5 cents per CPU hour. And in case you select a different service level like silver, we have a lower price because you have a higher surcharge in the months, but a lower price in the CPU. So my idea was to show how the subscription order management is working together with an advanced variant configurator and to use this price model also for the usage and the monthly fees and so on. And that is the reason why we have set up this example like it is. We also have in the training then changes to the configuration. That means we are doing exercises where we change this example and where we also analyze how the product model is distributed in the complete landscape. So in this point, according to the product modeling, we have a very strong solution because we have an integration with the advanced variant configurator. And you find this then also in the training BR 234 if you're interested into deeper subscription and order management processes. Okay, that's the reason why we have here the example. We also have the possibility to assign with this price model free usages. So in case we have the silver, you get a free number of CPU and RAM that can be used each month, including the surcharge that you already have paid. And that means we also are handling here to use counter for free usages, and we are also able to have allowances additionally that are covered in the convergent charging training and also in the integrated SOM process where we show how you can update allowances, for example, in this context. Okay. All in all, we are able to handle multi-site business models with the BRIM solution, and this makes the BRIM solution very strong here. The revenue sharing models are designed alongside with revenue generation models, and partner payments can be dependent on receipts of customer payments. I see there is maybe another question in the chat. Yes, we have another question here. In convergent charging, there is also a feature for recurring fee. Yes. What is the difference between billing plan and CC in terms of recurring fees? And the next question is, will setting up billing plan be part of the BR 230 class? So this is a very interesting question. Yes, we have two options in our architecture to have recurring fees. I go maybe back to my picture here. So here we have two, in general, in our BRIM solution, two options. On the one hand side, we have the possibility to create billing plans in convergent invoicing and to create out of this billing plan recurring fees. This is one option. The other option is another approach. We are also able to handle in convergent charging instead of this place here. Here, another possibility, then we have a charge plan which covers recurring fees. The question is, when is it reasonable to use which option? So in case we have maybe convergent charging not in place, and that is also the history, there a lot of customer needs a place. This comes also from the utilities industry, a place to define from where they can create recurrings. So first option, you use the billing plan in convergent invoicing if you don't have convergent charging in place. You can also use the billing plan in convergent invoicing if there is no connection or no interchange between the usage and the recurrence. We have, this depends on the price model. In case you have a recurring fee that is only paid if a usage was used, then you need to place the recurrings in the convergent charging, because the trigger for the recurring could be a usage. There are services in place in some industries where you only pay a recurring fee if you have used a service. Then you need to set up your price model as an integration of the usage charges and the recurring charges. And then the option 2, the placement of the recurrings and outcoming from convergent charging is relevant. So to be honest, so it depends on the price models and it depends on the complete architecture. So the billing plan option to use it in convergent invoicing was integrated for utilities industries, which did not have convergent charging, and for other industries. This is the main focus there, and some industries that are in high tech have a dependence between usage and recurring, and then it's reasonable to use the other option, option 2, with a convergent charging and recurring here. Then we have one box more, and we move this billing plan here. I hope this answers the question. We have some more chats. The question is, will the setting, is the billing plan part of the class BR230? Yes. I have set up the example with a billing plan in the BR230 class because we are using in the training this option 1, where we have the billing plan coming from convergent invoicing. Okay, I think digital payments is not involved, but it's possible to have digital payments involved. We have an integration between digital payments and FICA, but in our training we have not integrated it. But I've seen this in other examples. So in the training, it's not involved, but technically there is an integration between SAP Digital Payments and FICA. Okay, the business relationships. Okay, I think we are more or less at the end here with my presentation. In the chat if there are any more questions, and otherwise, you're free to use live access in the learning room to do exercises on your own, or you're invited to take part in one of the trainings that are on-site and in hybrid mode.